I hope you've already downloaded and installed your Photoshop. So just open it and let's see what happens. So this is what Photoshop looks like. So we have everything we're going to need on this plate. So we go to Windows and we go to Workshop, then click Essentials. So your workspace should look like this. So let me just reset mine. Reset Essentials. Now you're supposed to learn everything in Photoshop. All of this you're going to use while you're trying to make creative ideas for yourself. You have the Windows panel, view, all of this. You're supposed to understand all of them, and it's not as hard as it sounds. I'm going to teach you all the basics, all the tools. Give you a second to go to your tools and go to whatever you see on your screen. Then we can continue. Now, the next thing you want to do is make sure you have something to work on. So, if you don't have a layers panel, you'll have to go to Windows, then make sure that your layers panel is on. Just click on the layers. So, if yours looks like this, just go to Windows, go to layers, click it, and then the layers panel comes on. What you want to do is to start creating. So, you can click File, then create new, or Control N. Now these are all the templates that I've been using. All these are custom made. You can go to saved photo. All these are plates that you've already been given to. You can just check. Now to customize, I use 1920 by 1080 and I use pixels, but you can choose because you're customizing your own, and I'm only using this for YouTube. So you have centimeters. I'm going to choose pixels. Make sure your resolution is at 300, then click create. Then just wait for the sheet to come onto your screen. Now this is the worksheet you've created with all the dimensions that you had custom made. So, and this sheet is named background and it is locked. Now, assuming you don't want to start from scratch, I have a solution for you. Just go to File, click on Open, and your files are open. So just come, select any photo you want or whatever you want to start from. Okay, let me select, go down. I think I like this one. So just click Open. Now, let's wait and see the difference. What happens is you have this workspace or this worksheet. Now you have another one. So opening from the opens in the file gives you a new tab, not the one you are customizing. See? There's a difference. It's not on the worksheet, it's on another different tab. And it is the background. And so suppose you want to move it around, the move tool. I can't. Why? Because it cannot be moved as a back layer except if you convert it as a normal layer, which I'll explain later. So you can't move this right now. What you're going to do is duplicate it. So just click Ctrl J or right click on the layers and click duplicate layer. Then you can rename it whatever. So I'll just leave it as background, copy. Now what we're going to do is just, let me just close this because it's the same thing. Now if you try to move it, see what happens. It can move, you see? It can move. So we're just going to drag it to the previous custom made paper. Now what this does is it creates a layer. So this granny over here is on top of the custom made. Let's just resave it, granny. Now that was only the background copy was only there because in the other tab it was saved as background copy, so please don't mind that. Now if we wanted to edit this, make sure that granny is selected, then go to edit, then you see the shortcut is Ctrl T. You can just click Ctrl T or you transform, and see you can transform it via flipping horizontally, rotating 180, distorting, scale. So let's just try something, maybe the scale. If you hold shift, you can scale it without actually changing the dimensions of the picture. Go back to edit, transform. Let's try and rotate. See, you can rotate it negative. Oh, sorry, got a little carried away over there. Now I think she's fine. Okay. Yes, you can do that. Then make sure to click enter, or you can try Ctrl T. See, can still do the same. Or if you want to change it, you can just release the shift button, resize it, rotate it if you want to, or you can skew it, whatever you want. You want to distort it, as long as you know what you're doing, you can do anything with it. Sorry. Yes, so there we go. I remember to click enter if you're done, or else nothing will happen. Now I've opened and closed it, meaning that Granny is on top of the sheet. Now if you go to open and try to bring in another picture, let's say let me just do this. Maybe, okay, let's say if we took this and try to drag it, let's see what happens. See, this is not in another tablet. What this does is it puts it on the original paper you're working on whatever sheet you're using, and you can edit it, you can transform it in scale, in rotation, whatever you want. Distorting is its perspective. Now let me just try and resize this to where I want it to be. Yeah, that's fine. Click enter, don't forget. Now let me just delete this. You can just drag it, then down at the bottom to the dustbin, delete, so it's deleted. Now what we've done, now we have a new layer and we have the background. So let me just rename this architectural building. No, I'll just write house. Please don't mind me on my spellings. Then click enter. Now if we try to drag another image, let's say, let me choose one, let's say this one, and just select it and drag it. See, it comes on top of the worksheet that you're using, and you can do whatever you want. You can edit it. If you also want to edit it again, you can just go back. If you want to drag another photo, let me select another one. Don't mind my gallery. Drag it, resize it. You'll see pink lines. Just a second. This pink lines. Photoshop is trying to let you be accurate. If you want to align it this way, resize it to almost the center of the other image, and then click enter. Don't forget. Now let's talk about layers for a second. The background layer for a second. We have the background layer, the architectural, and the two ones that I've created. This one is on top of this one. I don't know if you can see that. The first layer is the one which is on top of everything. The background is at the bottom. So if you want to move something, if you want to shift it, select it, then just shift it. Sorry. No, okay. Let me close this. Now you can just shift it. Now let's talk about this. This was my background layer is off. If I try to export this, it will only come as this three. But if I include the background and export it as JPEG, the white background will be there. If I don't, it will only be the picture. I don't know if you're understanding, the pictures only. There will be no background if I export it as a PNG. If I export it as a JPEG, then there will be white background. Now, remember, if you want to edit, just click the layer and then transform it. Ctrl T, transform. Now, Click enter if you're done. Don't forget. Let me just shut on the background, I don't need it. Now, architecture house. Let's say you wanted to add a text. Just go to text, the T at the side, select it. Yes, then go there, write. Let me write my house in future. My house? No, my mood board. I'll write that. My mood board. Click enter when you're done. Now let's say you wanted to edit this at the top. At the top, you see the black, it represents the color. Now, if you just pick right and say, okay, see, nothing happens. Why is that? Because I didn't select. So just select the text, go back, and now you can do whatever color you want. You can choose red, black, green, any variation of green you want, blue, just all that, whatever you want, you can select from there. Now, let me choose one. Then click OK. Don't forget. Then unselect it. Now see the difference. Now the text is also a layer. If you want to move it, just look for the bluish line and move with it. It will place it between or above something. Now see, if you want it at the center, just move it there. See, it won't, it's because it's below the architectural picture. So if I move it above, it goes above everything else. Now, let me turn it off. Now click the architectural picture. Let's discuss something about adjustment layers. This is so exciting, guys. Now let's go to image and click adjustment. So you can see all the variations you can do: color, hue, saturation, vibrancy, or you can go at the bottom right. At the bottom right and look for this circle. It says adjustment layer. Then click it. You see it's the same thing. You have gradient, pattern, brightness and contrast, levels, curves, exposure. It's actually the same thing. Let's click curves. So if I move it at the top, it is so bright. If I move it down, it's dark. So you can just choose what you want. Let me just then let's go back. Adjustment, vibrancy. If I want it to be high, it will be so vibrant. If I take it to the left, it will be a negative, so it will be too dull. So I'll just put it to the right. Saturation the same. If it's a high positive, it will be saturated. Let me just edit this for a second. Okay, then now at the top there's adjustment. So next to libraries, you see it's the same things: brightness, contrast. If I take it to the left, it's darker. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, the contrast. If I take it to the right, to the left, it's actually just the same thing. So yeah, that's adjustment. Play with them, see what they can do. Now see these 3 layers that have been made here. Let's see, if I click shift and select the first one and the last one and right click and merge the layers, what happens is it removes the effects on my picture, and I don't want that. So just reverse this, Control Z. Now Control G. Let's do Control G. What this does is it groups the layers without affecting what I'm doing. See? Now, let me go to the original and duplicate it. Control J. Rename it Auto Tone. Let's talk about autos for now. Auto Tone. Now select it. Select the auto tone, go to image and click auto tone, or you can just use the shortcuts there. So Not if you see a slight difference. See? I hope you can see the difference. Now let's go duplicate it. Ctrl J, or right click and go to duplicate layer. Rename it whatever you want. I'll rename it auto contrast. Then click OK. Now select the layer you're working with, the auto contrast layer. Select the auto contrast layer, go to image, auto contrast. Now let's see the difference. See? There is a slight difference, but there is a difference. Now let me just try to see what works. Let me see. There's a difference in the lighting and stuff. Now let me go duplicate it, right click or Ctrl J, right click, go to duplicate layer, rename it. This one will be auto tone. Then click OK. Now click on the layer you're working on, go to image, auto color. See the difference? This one gives it a kind of a vintage pale vibe. Now see the difference when you have the group on. These are just some basic editing, tone and contrast you can do. Let me just select the one that I like. Okay, I think I'm done. Now let's go to open, file, open. I want a new tab, so I'll just select an image. Let's take this one, then click open. Remember, doing this creates another new tab. It's not the one that you were using. Now see, this new tab is its own background. Remember, if I try to move it, it will say it's locked. Now let's learn about the tools for a second. All these tools, the crop tool, the brush tool, the clone tool. Remember, the background is locked, so we can just duplicate it if we want, or we can turn it to a normal layer. Now remember, try moving it. If it says this, just let's try and convert it. So it's not a background anymore and it's not locked, so we can move it, transform it, whatever you want to do with it, flip it, anything. So let me just do Ctrl Z and undo that. Now if you go down to the background and double click on the padlock, it becomes a normal layer again. So you can move it. Remember, you can do anything here as long as you know what you're doing. Now let's undo that by clicking Ctrl Z. Then it's back to the background layer again. So let me just duplicate it, Ctrl J, or you can click on the background layer and right click and duplicate the layer. Okay, so now this is the new layer which I can move without altering the background. Now let's talk about the tools for a second. The rectangle tool. Now if I use it, see, it forms a rectangle, but the dimensions are not the same. So if I hold shift to create, let me deselect that, go back to the rectangle tool. If I hold on shift and make the selection, see, it's a perfect rectangle which I can move, see, contrary to the layer in the background. Let me just put this there. There's a difference. This reminds me of Instagram. Let me just deselect that. See, it looks so nice. Now this, we did this on the layer. So if we remove the background, meaning we would have distorted the layer. Remember what I told you? If we did this to the background, we would have nothing at the back. It would just be space. Let me just undo that. You can do Ctrl Z, or you can just go to edit and undo, or you can do Ctrl Alt and then Z. Okay. It just goes back to the beginning. Okay, now select. Let's say if you wanted to use the other tool, that's the rectangle marquee, the circle. Now if we do this, it's not perfect. Let's say we hold down Shift C, it's a perfect circle. I can move it, then I can go to the move tool and move the circle. Remember, we are doing this on the first layer. The background layer is still there. Let me put this here. Yeah, okay. You can click enter, or you can go to the select layer. On select, then select. See? Now remember, at our layer there is a circle from what we took. See? Look at that. Now if we do that, we mean that the background is at the back, then the layer. Now let's go to the lasso tool. Now if you go to the lasso tool and select it, it means you're going to have to draw it. Now go to the bottom left, change the percentage, okay, so that it can be where you want to see it. Now let's say I want to select this palm tree. Okay, yeah, this one. I know it's going to be rough. Please don't mind me. I'm just going to try and make a selection. I'm going to draw this. Sorry, it's so shoddy. Oops. I'm using my fingers, so please don't mind me. Please don't crucify me. Okay, we're almost done. Okay, if you want to deselect, just go to the top and choose the next one. Just with a minus sign, it just deselects where you don't want it. And then the top, sorry, at the top where I don't want it because I messed up, yes, you can just remove it. Now, because you have the palm tree selected, you can move this palm tree. Remember, we are selecting it, so I'm still deselecting where I don't want it. Remember, we're still on the layer, on the first layer that we're using. Now if I move it, what that does, it moves the first layer. Remember, the background is still at the back. Let me just deselect it. The background is at the back, and we already moved the first part by using the circle. So if I try to move it, it moves the only thing that I've selected. The only thing that I've selected is the one which is going to move. Let me just zoom out for a second. At the bottom left, change the percentage to whatever you want to use so that you can know what you're working with. Remember, we had already moved it using the circle. Okay, let's go to the quick selection tool. You can increase the size, you can lower it. So big, let me just lower it. You can lower it and make sure that your size is a positive. You want to start adding, selecting whatever is in your layer. So let me just do the rocks for now. And quick selection is really smart, so it will just select what is the rocks. You just select it where you want. I think I'll do the other side. Okay, just select it. If you select outside, just go back, take it to a smaller size, and continue selecting. Now if you select where you don't want it to be, just go back, go to the minus sign, then deselect it. So easy. Photoshop is so easy, guys. It's so easy. Now see, you have it selected. If you go to let me just deselect. If you see at the bottom left, let me show you there. If you click on it, it gives you a foreground and a background, meaning whatever you selected will be shown so that you know where to deselect and where to select. Let me just deselect here. Okay. Now if you wanted to move this, you can move it. Remember, we're on the layers, the layer we had selected. So if we distort it, the original image is still there. If I drag it to another tab, see, and let me just put it at the top so you can see. Now if I still move it, see, I can move it here, there, whatever I want. Now let me just go back, Control Z. Now if I had done this to the background layer, let's see what would have happened. If I moved it, it distorts the original image. We don't want that. We want to keep the original image. So make sure you duplicate your layer. Okay, go watch my next video. I'm going to be sharing more on tools, and we're going to do selecting and masking. Please don't miss out. These are the basics. Okay, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, so that you don't miss out on any of the amazing content that is going to come up, and share to any other friends who think might be interested.